Shri Krishna Parabrahmane Namaha. In previous episode called 7 Pilgrimage Centers Part 1, we had discussed and elaboratedly analyzed 3 pilgrimage centers out of 7. In those 3 pilgrimage centers, it has its own greatness, legendary status, though it was destroyed by the Mughals, but they did not take away our beliefs and our traditions and customs. That is their foolishness. Physically, they might have damaged, but mentally, spiritually, psychologically, our Indian culture and tradition is so great. Nowhere we can get lost. That is their foolishness. They only thought the external features of our Indian traditions was damaged by them to take revenge, to import their religious rights on us, but they were not succeeded. So many foreigners came over to India, ruled us, took away so much valuable things, whatever they did, but they did not take in even a single bit of our culture and tradition. This is everlasting. It has no decay. No one can damage the feelings of our Indian traditions, our Indian culture and civilization. It is a foolishness of those foolish Mughal emperors or others. Therefore, even today, we are number one in our culture and tradition in the world. They have to come to India and they have to be purified, sanctified by putting their legs on the soil of India. Nobody so far took our cultural heritage. Only they demolished the external features only. They cannot come to our deep devotion on our lords and our Indian soil. When they do like this, it is increased. Previously it was hidden. When they want to banish, it exploded, increased much, developed much. Instead of disappearing, it appeared each and every part of the world. Understand? What a greatness of our pilgrimage centers. Therefore, we profoundly say that our culture is always great. Even in the future, nobody can take or destroy our culture and tradition, because it is not an ordinary thing. It was the hard work and dedicated work of our ancient sages, because India is Dharma Bhumi, Veda Bhumi and Karma Bhumi. Who can destroy it? Nobody can destroy our internal feelings, our dedicated devotion, etc. in their point of view. Well, let them do, but it increases but never decreases. In this way, we had discussed 3 major pilgrimage centers. Now, in the second part, we are going to discuss remaining the 4 pilgrimage centers. Now I start seven pilgrimage centers part 2 with prayer. Ramaya Ramabhadraya Ramachandraya Vedase Raghunathaya Nathaya Sitaya Pataye Namaha. Let us start fourth one. Varanasi, whatever, Benares, Kashi, all the names are same. Varanasi is also called Kashi, Benares, an ancient city said to be the oldest inhabited one. The city was known by several names such as Avimuktaka, Ananda Kanana, Mahashmashana, Surandhana, Brahmavardha, Sudarshana, and Ramya. These are the names of Varanasi. In view of its ancient historical, cultural, religious heritage, it is considered as the most holy of the seven sacred cities of Hinduism. Its historical and religious legacy dates to the Buddha period and has been the center of religious Brahmanical learning, with sages, philosophers, writers, and musicians making it their home in the past several centuries. But much of its temple glory was subject to plundering and destruction by Muhammad Ghori in the 12th century. The temples and bathing God's embankment made in steps of stone slabs along the river bank, where pilgrims perform ritual ablutions, are located on the left-west bank of the holy Ganges river, and the count of temples in the city is claimed to be 23,000. See? Wow! In and around the city of Varanasi, we can find small and big total temples are numbers 23,000. Wherever you can hear or see. Now, that is our greatness. We should feel. It is our gift given by our ancient sages. Okay, let us salute to our ancient sages. And the bathing ghats, number 81 numbers of bathing ghats are in around Varanasi. The most venerated and frequented ghats for devotional worship by the pilgrims are the Manikarnika Ghat, Harishchandra Ghat, Dashashwamedha Ghat, Assi Ghat, and Panchaganga Ghat. At two of ghats, what are they? Manikarnika and Harishchandra Ghats, Hindus cremate their dead bodies. The rivers Varuna and Asi, both are combined the form of name of the city Varanasi. These two rivers are flowing on the left bank of Ganges and close the old city of Varanasi. The ghats at the confluence sites of these two streams with the Ganges are also held in the veneration. All these factors have contributed to the city being called the religion's capital of Hinduism. Varanasi is also known as the favorite city in older times was known as Kashi or Shivki Nagari. The Pandavas went to Kashi in search of Lord Shiva to atone for their sins of fratricide and Brahmahatya that they had committed during the epic Kurukshetra war of Mahabharata. Epic. Among the innumerable temples in the city, Most worshipped are the Kashi Vishwanatha temple of Shiva, the Shankatamochana Hanuman temple, and Durga temple, known for the band of monkeys that reside in the large trees nearby. In addition, there are two new temples, the Tulsi Manas and Vishwanatha temple, located in the Banaras Hindu University campus. Ancient Buddhist monasteries are seen in the Saranath, but they are mostly in ruined stage. There are also temples built by Mahabodhi Society and the Chinese, Burmese, and Tibetan Buddhists. Religious festivals are held here on the occasion of Mahashivaratri, meaning Great Night of Lord Shiva. A procession of Shiva is taken from the Mahamrutyunjaya temple to the Kashi Vishwanatha temple. Another popular festival in the Ganges festival, held in November or December, when the Ganges is venerated by the Aarti offered by thousands of pilgrims, who also release lighted lamps to float in the river from the ghats. The historic event of Rama returning after 14 years exile, termed Vanavas, exile. Living in forest is called exile in Sanskrit. And meeting his younger brother Bharata is celebrated during the October or November as Bharata Milap. Milap means meeting festival. At the Tulsi Ghat, a classic musical soiree, particularly to Drupada style, is held during March for 5 days, where iconic artists from all parts of India are invited to perform. In one sentence, Mark Twain, the renowned Indophile, has extolled the greatness of Varanasi thus: Benares is older than history, older than tradition, older even than legend, and looks twice as old as all of them had put together. Varanasi is 780 kilometers from Delhi, the national capital, and 300 kilometers from Lucknow, the state capital of Uttar Pradesh. Varanasi or Kashi, the holiest and the most ancient of the Saptapuris. Now let us come for fifth one, Kanchipuram. Kanchipuram is the pilgrimage city in Tamil Nadu, also known as Kanchivaram. During the British rule, built during the Pallava dynasty between 6th and 8th centuries, located on the bank of Palar River, has an architectural legacy of over 1000 years. Before this period, it was the capital of early Cholas in the 2nd century BC. After the rule of Pallava dynasty, the Vijayanagara Empire and the Nayaka dynasty period followed in the order. Prior to the Pallava reign, it is conjunctured based on the chronicles of the Xuanzang, the Chinese pilgrim who visited Pallava's court, that the city was under the influence of Ashoka, the Mauryan emperor, in 3rd century BC. Xuanzang had also noted that Buddha had visited this place. Jain and Buddhist temples and stupas of the Chola dynasty reign have been recorded, but mostly do not exist on ground. But South Indian architecture got a fillip only during Pallava rule, particularly of rock-cut temples during Mahendravarma once. Number one, reigned after the converted from Jainism to Hinduism. He was considered a man with vision and intelligence, a scholar, musician, and a playwright. Kanchipuram was considered second city to Varanasi in fame and learning. Adi Shankaracharya, the Hindu philosopher saint who propagated the Advaita philosophy, lived and taught here in the 8th century AD. The city has 108 Shiva and 18 Vaishnava temples. See? Great temples we can see in and around Kashi. 108 Shiva temples, 18 Vishnu temples. The Hindu philosopher Ramanujacharya, who propagated the Vishishtadvaita philosophy, studied here in Kanchipuram. The temples are distributed in 3 zones of the city, namely, the Vishnu temples are in the east zone, and the Jagan Mandirs are in the east cross of the Pala river. Some of the exquisitely designed and built temples of the Vijayanagara period in Vijayanagara architecture style are the Ekambaranadeshwara temple tower, which is 192 feet in height, and Varadaraja Swami temple, which has 1000 pillar hall. Kamakshi Amman temple is an ancient temple here and the most famous of all the temples in the city. It is associated with Adi Shankara. Legend has it that Kamakshi offered worship to a Shivalinga made out of sand and gained Shiva's hand in marriage. The temple covers an area of about 5 acres and the sanctum is covered with gold-plated vimana. Kamakshi Amman is enshrined in the temple in a sitting posture called the Parabrahma Swarupini, seated with the trinity of Brahma, Vishnu and Shiva. It is located 75 km from Chennai, the state capital of Tamil Nadu, and 277 km from Bangalore, the state capital of Karnataka. It has a good network of roads, railings, and transport services to all parts of the country, and the nearest domestic airport or international airports are at Chennai. Kailash temple, Kanchipuram, also referred to as the Kailash temple, is one of the oldest surviving monuments in Kanchipuram. It reflects the Dravidian architecture and was built about 700 CE by Rajasimha, Narasimhavarman II, with additions by Mahendra III. A square plan temple, it has a Mukhamandapa, entrance hall, a Mahamandapa, gathering hall, and primary Garbhagriha, sanctum, topped with a 4-story Vimanam. The main sanctum is surrounded by 9 shrines, 7 outside and 2 inside, flanking the entrance of sanctum, all with forms of Shiva. The outer walls of the temple's prakara is also surrounded by the cells. The Kailashanadar temple is notable for its intricately carved galaxy of Hindu art in the late 7th and 8th century Tamil tradition. These largely relate to Shaivism. It also include significant number of themes from Vaishnavism, Shaktism, and Vedic deities. The temple is also notable for one of the early and best specimens of Hindu mural art in Tamil Nadu. This is found in the inner walls of courtyard cells. The murals are in style that is also found in the Ajanta caves as well as in the historic paintings in the 8th century Vaikunthanada Perumal temple also in Kanchipuram. The temple walls have many inscriptions in early scripts important to epigraphical study of regional history and Tamil temple traditions. The temple is one of the most prominent tourist attractions of the city. Now, 6th one, Avantika, Ujjaini. Ujjain Mahakal temple is situated in Madhya Pradesh. Ujjain, with an ancient spiritual and scriptural name of Avantika, complements both rich historical and religious traditions. The history dates its links to the period of Vikramaditya and Ashoka, 3rd century BC. The religious traditions link it to God Shiva triumphing over the demon king Tripurasura and the remaining city as Ujjaini. Ujjaini probably also marks the spread of Hindu religious beliefs to the Central Asia region. Particularly mention could be made to the reign of Vima Kadphises during the Kushan dynasty, who considered Shiva as his divine patron. During his reign, apart from the influence of Greek religious practices, worship of Shiva in particular was also seen as an accepted practice in Iran. This leaning is attributed to Vima Kadphises' victory over Indian territory. Inscriptions of his times of Iran establish that he had converted the temple of Dioscuri, built during Greco-Bactrian period, at Dilbarjain into a sanctuary for Shiva by decorating the place with the paints of Shiva and his wife Parvati. He got the wall painting of Shiva done by craftsmen he had taken from Ujjaini, apart from constructing a water conveyance system to the sanctuary of Lord Shiva. Inscriptions further testify that the Kushan king attributed his rise to power to Shiva and Chandivira. It is deduced that the Chandivira may be the same god as Chandishwara, the god of Mahakala temple at Ujjaini. It is also conjectured that the support of the Indian community settled in eastern Iran and encouragement he got from their priesthood before and during his Indian campaign and his relations with Ujjain contributed to his deep involvement with the cult of Shiva. This devotion was continued by him even after his Indian campaign. Emperor Ashoka also played a significant role as Viceroy of Ujjaini. In enhancing its importance, Ashoka, who ruled for 3 decades, nearly 30 years, between 268 and 233 BC, started his career in Takshashila. Now we can see that in Pakistan, in the northwest by subduing a revolt. Thereafter, his father Bindusara of the Mauryan dynasty transferred Ashoka as his viceroy to Ujjaini. which was the famous capital of the earlier kingdom of Avanti in central India. It was once the largest city and capital of Malwa region. In the ancient city of Ujjain, Jai Singh II ruled in the 18th century. Jai Singh II built an observatory called the Jantar Mantar. The reason for building the observatory here was that it was the center of Hindu astronomy, Khagoda Shastra. According to the Indian astronomy, the first meridian of longitude passes through Ujjaini. The modern calculations have established that the Tropic of Cancer passes through Ujjaini. Ujjaini is about 776 kilometers south from Delhi, the capital city of India, and 183 kilometers west of Bhopal, the state capital of Madhya Pradesh. It is 402 kilometers away from Ahmedabad and 665 kilometers northwest of Mumbai. Dwaraka means Dwaravati. Dwaraka, Krishna, an incarnation of Lord Vishnu, is believed to have migrated from Mathura to 5000 years ago and made Dwaraka his capital, as noted in the scripture Bhagavata Purana. He established the city on the bank of the Gomati river. But after the death of Lord Krishna, there was a downfall of his dynasty, the Yadavas. This was further compounded by floods and eventual submergence of Krishna's city in Arabian Sea. Presently, Dwaraka is a small city located at the western tip of the Saurashtra Peninsula in Gujarat state on the shores of Arabian Sea. Chronology of the recorded historic events witnessed at the temple city linked directly to the temple is dated from 400 BC, when Vajranabha built an umbrella type temple and deified his grandfather Krishna's image there. It has undergone several changes with times under different rulers, and in 800 AD, Adi Shankaracharya is said to have got the Dwarakadish temple renovated and also added a shrine of goddess Adya Shakti, mean Adi Parashakti. Over the next few centuries, more renovations took place with the grant of an additional land till 1261 AD, when the temple was destroyed by Mohammedan people, mean Muhammad Shah. In subsequent years also, renovation took place, but there was a dispute between two groups for the control of the temple. In 1504, Vallabhacharya established the image of Dwarakadish in a well in Ladwa village to protect it from Muslim murderers, and again it was shifted to Dungapur, where the temple was renovated. In 1861, Maharaja Kundarao renovated the temple. During British rule, the temple tower was rebuilt. A golden picture was fixed on the temple tower by Maharaja Gaikwad in the year 1903, and further renovations were undertaken by the Shankaracharya of Dwarakapeetham. Since 1960, the conservation of the temple is under the control of the Government of India. The present Dwarakadish temple, also called the Jagan Mandir or Triloka Sundar, is a storied structure, 43 meters in height, appears to be rising above the Arabian Sea. It is dated to the 13th century AD on the basis of oceanographic explorations undertaken to trace out the ancient temple which was submerged in the Arabian Sea. The elegantly carved temple's shikara is adorned with a huge flag, which is said to be 52 yards in length and 7 colors that can be seen flying from a distance of 10 kilometers. There is an approach to the back side of the temple from the Gomati river, and which is built of 56 steps. The temple, built in soft limestone, has a sanctum enclosed within a large hall with a covered entrance from 3 sides, while the external carvings depict erotic scenes. The temple sanctum is austere in design, but the main images are elaborately ornamented. Srikanthaya Kalyana Nade Nade Dhnam Shri Venkata Nivasaya Srinivasaya Mangalam Mangalasasana Premadacharya Progame Sarvesha Purvairacharya Satkrutajyastu Mangalam.